From the heart of Sacramento, where the crown stays on and the lights go off, this is the Sac Blackout Podcast. No filters, no limits, just straight raw talk. We're bringing you everything sports, music, culture, and the real conversations they don't want you to have. So when the lights go out, you already know what time it is. Sac Blackout Podcast. Welcome to the Sac Blackout Podcast. I am your host and the Vice President of the Sacramento chapter, The Black Hole, Izzy Lopez, along with Raider Chavez, the President of the Sacramento chapter in the Black Hole, and our sports analysis, football analysis, Wyatt Redding. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, man? What's going on, guys?
Well, how's your weekend? And we were just talking about you guys not feeling so well, a little under the weather. You know,
A little bit. Get through it.
Don't cry about it.
I might sound a little nasally on this podcast, but we'll get through it.
You guys do anything fun over the weekend? Anything new? What's good? Why?
Just went by too fast.
Yeah, it's had some family over and stuff, kind of just chilling, laying low.
Right. Well, my weekend wasn't that very great. I just did some DJing stuff, and yeah, it was cool. Drunk people are fun to be around when you're sober and you don't drink. So I never realized how ridiculous I was, but it was good. I mean, I don't knock people who drink because believe me, I used to have a good time with it.
Yeah, the Vegas Strip knows.
Yeah, we'll save that for another show, man. We'll save that for another show. Yeah, we'll keep that. Everything in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas. Stories and whatnot. Doesn't mean your cell phone and your wallet have to stay out there, but.
Yeah, well, you made sure of that.
We'll get to another show. So anyways, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to try to break down some, a couple of things with the defense. We're going to focus a lot on that. We're going to be actually having a Wyatt break down some stuff with somebody that they made a big move. So we're going to go on ahead and have Wyatt break that down, and we'll let him tell you who it's going to be a little bit later on into the show. With that being said, we have with the Raiders off season. They did actually a lot going on. Obviously, we know that they picked up the first round is what they did. But getting players like Traydon Stukes, obviously that was Wyatt's guy that he wanted to break down in the last show. It's a great addition that they did with the team, and we're looking forward. We're really, really strong on the defense, and I think that's probably what they were going to focus on a lot. But like I said, we're going to get into that a little bit later on. And with that being said, Wyatt, when it comes down to it, when you look at the new additions that they add, whether it's the guys that they drafted as far as defense goes and the new players, whether it's the old players or the veteran players that they signed during the offseason, right now looking at the Raiders, what do you think when you look at them? What jumps out to you? Is the defense in a rebuild? Are they reloading, or is this an identity change?
I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a full-blown identity change, and obviously they're retaining Max Crosby, so it's kind of it's kind of like they're reloading and an identity change because they have some of the pieces that worked last year. Max Crosby, Thomas Booker, guys like that, Stokes. They have those guys coming back. But at the same time, they completely revamped the secondary, and they also added more depth to the front seven. So I think that the defense this year, I'll get into it a little bit later, more in depth, but I think the defense is going to have way more layers to it and more depth to it this season, and it's going to be much more effective overall, in my opinion.
So with a good grade that grading that they're drafting and signing the players, you think that they're headed in the right direction, or is it kind of a fuzzy path?
I think it's definitely the right direction. In the draft, they definitely went defensive heavy, like we were talking about last time. And then in free agency, they also went defensive heavy. Obviously, they brought in Mendoza and Linderbaum on offense. But aside from that, almost all of the moves were on defense, it felt like. And the defensive unit, honestly, in my opinion, wasn't even the main problem last season. So adding on to the continuity that they had on defense last year with Rob Leonard, being on that defensive coaching staff, and then getting in new talent as well, I think it's going to be awesome to watch this season for the Raiders.
And Steven, I mean, do you see any like worries going on with the team? I mean, do you see that with the offseason? Is there an improvement with the defense, or do you still have any worries in any particular areas, whether it be corners or the linebackers, defensive end? Like, what do you think?
I think the defense is vastly improved, but if there was going to be a worry, they brought in a couple linebackers, eh, which I love. But with N'Kobe Dean, he's got a history of being hurt. And I
Mhm.
think we lack depth still at the linebacker position. We have a few
Yeah.
young guys that we've drafted over the last couple years, so we'll see how they pan out. But my only worry on that defense, I think we have depth on the line. I think now we have some depth in the secondary, but I do worry that if we sustain an injury to Walker or Dean, we're very thin at that position. That could really hurt us.
So then at this point, you're probably
They
going to
stay
assume that,
healthy.
yeah.
The starters, we stay healthy. The starters are great. I love it, especially bringing back Max Crosby. I think this team can really make some noise.
So then, who other than obviously on the defensive end that you think would become the defensive leader? And is there really a worry between the Kobe Dean and Quay Walker that one of them won't make it, too far into the season?
I think they'll make it to the season. It's just more, like I said, N'Kobe Dean has a history of injuries,
Yeah,
so my worry is that he gets hurt and we just don't have a whole lot of depth there. But running the new defensive scheme that they're going to do, I think some of our defensive ends might be dropping back in coverage a little more. But as far as a leadership role, it's always going to go to Max Crosby. We would have been talking about who takes over that leadership role if
Mhm.
he would have, if that trade would have went through. But with him back, I mean, Max Crosby has been the identity of the whole team, the leader of the whole team for the last few
Yeah,
years. I think Mendoza is going to start taking that over soon. But as far as that defense,
yeah, yeah.
Max Crosby, the defense goes as Max Crosby goes, in my
Well,
opinion.
of course. I mean, Max Crosby. This is his fifth year, right? Going into it, or sixth year. Yeah, but he's definitely the leader of that squad out there. But being able to get him some other edge players out there to be able to get something going on, definitely going to be able to take some weight off his shoulders and get it. Because I was watching some highlights of his first season. Man, he was beasting out there his first year when we picked him up in the fourth round. It was nuts, nuts. So I'm definitely excited about the additions that they got out there. But with that being said, though, Wyatt, how important is linebacker play in today's NFL against mobile quarterbacks and athletic tight ends?
Well, I think it's absolutely huge. And I mean, I think that's a big reason why they went out and got those two guys, because obviously linebacker was probably the weakest position that we had on defense, the weakest unit. And one thing that I found interesting was that Rob Leonard, before he was a defensive line coach with the Raiders, he was actually a linebacker coach with the Baltimore Ravens
Yes,
in
that's right.
2022 for John Harbaugh. So I think the importance of linebacker to Rob Leonard specifically is massively vital. And that's why right when he's stepping up as the defensive coordinator, I don't think it's a coincidence they went out and go get two of the best linebackers in the free agent pool. And I mean, it's definitely a very important position as well. I mean, they're tasked with guarding tight ends, tackling like running backs and players like crossing over the middle, and as well as reading the quarterbacks as well. They have they're basically the quarterbacks of the defense essentially. So very, very big role for them.
Yeah. So going from the line on the field to now being up in the booth and being able, and he's not just covering just the line. I mean, I think he did some running back coaching too. I forget. I don't know if I might have read that wrong. But going from the field, and now he's going to be in the booth where he has to pretty much watch everything and not just one specific group of defensive guys. Do you think that he is going to be successful? Like, do you have any worries about it, or is he just going to get in there and just handle it?
You'd be like Rob Leonard is the coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited about it because Patrick Graham, he was obviously more of a proven defensive coordinator. Obviously, he left, and I believe he's with the Steelers now. But he had kind of a bend don't break type of philosophy, which was we ranked about middle of the pack for the past couple of years. But I think with Rob Leonard, it offers a little bit more upside in terms of overall defense potential, because Rob Leonard, he's going to implement more of an aggressive type of defense that I'll get into later. And it's kind of more of a go for it all type of defense. And I'm actually very optimistic to see what it looks like, because the Raiders defense. I want to see some more turnovers forced on that defense this season, and bringing in Max Crosby, having him come back. I don't even think they not wanted to, but I didn't think they expected to have him come back after trading him to the Ravens, but they made a good offseason of free agent moves without him. And now he's back with us. I think now it's just going to be even better than they even expected to begin with.
So then
I think having Max Crosby back is really going to open up Kwity Paye. You know, he's kind of had a down season in the last 2 years, but he did have 2 8-sack seasons in the past. And I really think having Crosby back is going to open up his potential big time. He doesn't have to come in and be the number one guy. And I think that's going to be a huge move for him. I think he's excited that Crosby's back.
So you think being able to have with Crosby back, Kwity Paye and Keyron, that that the pass rush could be a little bit more better? You think that's going to improve a little bit more?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if they're double, triple teaming Crosby, that leaves a lot of people open. And hopefully Kuntz bounces back too. That'll help out a lot.
So for the both of you guys, then would be the most important player in the Raiders front seven right now?
Absolutely, Max Crosby.
The Max Crosby?
Yeah. And then I also think that Kwity Paye as well, if you want to go like somebody that's not Max Crosby, I think Kwity Paye is going to finally give some pressure on the other side of the defense. That it seems like since we've had Crosby, they always double team him. And there's nobody really that effective on the other side that's able to kind of pick him up while he's getting double teamed. But if Kwity Paye can kind of like live up to the hype, I think that he can finally give that kind of like other side of the line presence.
All right, let's talk about the secondary. So the Raiders adding Traydon Stukes and Dalton Johnson from Arizona. And I'll ask Steven this one first. What do you think of that safety tandem? Like with those two together, do you think that that's going to be a huge improvement in the secondary?
Well, I think Johnson's going to be more of a special teams guy at first, but I think you're going to see Traydon Stukes. I think you're going to start seeing him get a lot of playing time. Maybe not start right away, or maybe he starts right away. But I think you're going to see a lot of him. I think he has big play capability, and he can come down in the box and make tackles and everything too. So I think you're going to see a lot of Stukes. The more and more I look into him and look at his highlight reels and just look at what he did in college, man, I'm super impressed. That ended up being, even though that's not the guy I was looking at the second pick, and that ended up being such a good pick.
I mean, he's favored to be the like a starter. I mean, they're like a first year starter. So.
But don't sleep on we don't talk a whole lot about because of everybody else we brought in, but Taron Johnson has been one of the better, slot corners in this league, and I think he's built to have a really good year too. I think in the future, some of these guys that we drafted are going to take over that spot, but for this year, man, I think he's going to have a good season for the Raiders. It's a good addition.
That's your sleeper.
I think turnovers are key, man, and these guys can get turnovers. That's one thing about the secondary players that they brought in. These guys get their hands on the ball, and it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not getting your hand on the ball, you're not going to get your hand on the ball in the NFL. And these guys have been constantly getting their hand on the ball in college, and that can translate to the NFL. Normally, if they're not in college, you normally don't see them do it in the NFL. They could still be good defenders, but we need turnovers, man. We need pick sixes. We need interceptions at key times. And it's just not something we've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, like, I feel like with the bend don't break style defense that Graham had, like Raider Chavez was just saying, like, there were a lot of plays we'd be good on early downs, it felt like, but then it was always it always seemed to be like third and long, and they would just get just enough to get a first down every single time. We didn't really have enough juice in that secondary, but now hopefully adding the guys that we did add in the draft, I think the playmakers in the secondary are going to be able to add an extra spark to the defense that we lacked the last couple of seasons.
Hey, and you know what? Don't mark Jamard McCoy as a red shirt year. The guy's practicing right now at rookie minicamp. There's a chance he's playing this year.
Yeah.
That's
100%. That would be huge if he was able to like suit up.
He's practicing. They had a rookie minicamp this weekend, and he's out there doing drills. So there's a chance the Raiders think he can play, and they're not worried about his injury right now.
So then, what would be the biggest storyline that you're going to be waiting out of training camp? Like you're kind of
McCoy has to be the biggest storyline because I think everybody's wondering if this guy's going to play. Is he going to redshirt? Does he need to get another surgery? We don't know. There's other NFL teams that think he needs another surgery. There's some that think he's only got 5 years left in that knee.
Yeah.
Raiders took a shot. They might be said like, okay, 5 years. Let's see what we can get out of you in 5 years, or if we're lucky, more. So there's a chance he plays, and if he plays, this guy's a stud, man.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen any news about it lately, but I mean, just right after the draft when they were talking to him, I mean, he was in an interview talking about how, that there were other teams that were saying that he might need a secondary or a second surgery, but that even if he did, he feels good. He's out there training. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he said that they were fine that if he needed to have that surgery, but when the doctors were looking at it, they were saying that he may or may not need it. It's more of on him on how long he wants to prolong his playing years. So, I mean, I would. I mean, obviously, I'm not a doctor and I only play one on TikTok, but I would think that he would most likely just end up going with that surgery if he wants to have a good legendary year or career. I would think that maybe he should probably go with the surgery just to be sure, or just go ball out and just see what happens. Go maybe 1 or 2 years, and if that thing ends up getting out on me. And the doctors, when they were looking at it, I mean, I saw like a diagram of how they were doing it, and they basically just take out cartilage, and they put like a rod. They drill a hole somewhere in the kneecap, put a rod in there or something like that, and it's supposed to just allow them to just that flexibility to be able to move. So I think that a lot more teams are worried about it, but I think maybe the Raiders might know something a little bit more in depth about the surgery itself, because it may not be that serious that a lot of other teams think that it really is. Let's hope that McCoy comes out of it great.
And they have really good facilities there in Vegas, where the Raiders are at. It's state of the art over there now. So the doctors are going to lead them in the right direction, and I know Wyatt will be super happy if this guy can get on the field right away, because I know he's excited to see what he could do. And so am I. So I think we'll know by training camp if the guy's out there practicing. There's a good chance he's playing this year. And we might have got a major steal.
I mean, like, you already had Eric Stokes last year, who was a really good cornerback for them statistically and, with the eye test as well. And then you put in Jamad McCoy on the other side. Like, all of a sudden, that's a pretty formidable, like, cornerback duo if McCoy is like fully healthy. And then Darian Porter, I mean, he might be able to develop. And then Taron Johnson, they bring in to play nickel. He was very good in the nickel slot cornerback role for the Bills. So, I mean, all of a sudden, that's actually like a pretty damn good cornerback room, maybe even top 10, dare I say.
With all that being said, how do you think that the secondary and, with everybody back there, how do you think that teams are going to be like against, the teams in our division, Chiefs, Chargers, the Broncos? How do you think they're going to – you think they're pumping fear into them at this point? You think Mahomes is over there, getting scared a little bit with who we got?
Well, like, it's one thing to have a really stacked, solid roster on paper, but it's another thing to actually put the results to the test on the field. So I think the Raiders, I mean, we're going to be looked at, like, whether you like it or not, we're going to be looked at as the bottom barrel of the division going into the season. So in order for the Raiders to get that respect from their division rivals and opponents around the league, they need to prove that they can do it. And I think that they definitely have much better personnel. They're in a much better position to be able to thrive defensively than they were in the past couple seasons. Now following the solid draft and the free agent pool that they brought in.
Well said.
Yeah. I mean, we're not putting fear into the teams right now. They're not looking at us, and they're still looking at us as the, fourth team in that division. But I think as the season goes on, they really can start doing that if they perform the way we want them to. Let's not forget that we played Denver well last year. We should have won both games, really. But so, even though they won the division, it's not like they came and kicked our ass.
Yeah. And it wasn't because of our offense either in those games, like especially that one in Denver on prime time. Like that was the defense balling out, and that was like with like I'd say we probably have about like half the defense, maybe a little more than that than we had last year, and then we added in a bunch of other, which should be upgrades, as well to mix in with those guys that thrived last year, like Crosby and Booker and all in Stokes. So and Jeremy Chin as well. I mean, at that strong safety position. So yeah, it's looking
The
pretty good on
defense,
paper.
yeah, I mean, kind of like what Wyatt said earlier too. The defense wasn't really bad. It kind of looked like it because the offense couldn't get anything going, or Gino would throw a pick, and the defense would have to come back on the field. So once the defense wore down and they were tired,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's when things started being given up. But when the game started and they're out there and they're not tired, they're not, on the field too much. They played well, man. They got out of there on third downs. We got the pass rush, but the more they were out there, the more you started seeing teams complete passes on us. So if the offense can hold on to the ball longer, that's going to help that defense a lot this year. So
Yeah, because we did fairly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say because we did fairly well on the on the run on our run defense, which forced a lot of these quarterbacks to throw it up in the air and wear down a lot of our secondary guys out there. So and because that's really where it all ended up. It all ended up happening for us. Like we just could not stop those deep passes because our guys were just getting so tired. Because damn, I mean, yeah, Geno Smith wasn't producing enough to get those touchdowns or even to keep the ball on our side of the on our side of the field to be able to just maintain that clock. It just seems like we were 4 and out, like 3 and out every single time. So
being at the opener and the first pass is picked off.
Yeah,
we're there in the stadium, all pumped up, ready to go against the Chargers, and here we go.
And even like the special teams as well was kind of putting the defense in like bad positions. So yeah.
Special teams were pretty bad last year.
Man.
Well, let's break down the position groups. Like how do you feel we fare on the defensive line right now?
So I'm looking at the defensive line right now. I mean, obviously we're going to do that 3-4 base defense. And I think the defensive line, if you don't aside from the linebackers, you're looking at just, the DNs and the defensive tackle. I'm looking at the defensive line. They're pretty much sticking with the exact same group of guys they had last year. So, and like Izzy was saying, they were solid against the run last year. That wasn't really like on early downs. That wasn't really like too much of their issue. And I think that they kind of liked what they saw out of guys like Thomas Booker, Adam Butler, and maybe even JJ Pegues get some playing time this season.
Yeah.
Tonka Hemingway, maybe there's some guys with some very nice intangibles that could thrive up front. And I think they kind of want to keep the continuity of the defense a little bit because they don't want to like completely overturn the entire roster. And because obviously that would take years to kind of gel together. So they already have guys that have good chemistry up front. And I think they kind of want to roll with that. They mainly wanted to revamp the secondary, which is what they did.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And then obviously having Max Crosby back, I mean, that's just like a blessing, and not even in disguise. It's just a blessing in general. I mean, to have him back and be back fully on board, back with the Raiders, back with the crew. Super, super cool stuff with that. And I mean, just looking for guys like Pegues to maybe break out with additional playing time. I am a little bit, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit concerned about the nose tackle position. Like, a lot of people thought that they were going to upgrade that, bolster it in the draft. But as of right now, it's looking like Adam Butler, JJ Pegues, and Broderick Martin Rhodes are the 3 nose tackles they have on roster. How do you guys feel about that group right there?
Yeah, I was a little cautious about that too, but I'm also kind of looking at it as well. Rob Leonard was the defensive line coach the last few years, so he knows what he has. And we didn't really get to see the young guys that we drafted last year too much. So maybe he sees something that we didn't, and he feels he can roll with those guys this year in that position. So
yeah,
hopefully it does work out that way.
Yeah, and with Leonard being able to get a little bit more broad aspect of what's going on in the field, I think he's going to be able to tackle that. No pun intended, but I think he's going to be able to tackle that aspect. With the good scheme, and just be able to get out there and take care of whatever needs to be addressed. So I'm not too concerned with it because I like everything that the Raiders are doing with the moves that they're making, switching people around, Getting Leonard from the line, like I said, getting him from the field to be able to get him up in the booth is going to be a huge change for him. But I mean, the dude he's a mastermind. He knows exactly.
Is there still a position on that defense, Wyatt, that you feel is still kind of weak and that you're worried about?
Yeah, well, I feel like we mostly covered the two that I'm mainly concerned about: the defensive tackle group. Because I know Adam Butler, I'm pretty sure he's good against the pass, right? He's good against the pass, but like the run, he's not really like that prototypical nose tackle size. But he does have really good pass rush technique for a defensive tackle. And then the depth of the linebacker position definitely worries me a little bit as well. A lot of people kind of thought maybe do they go get Jacob Rodriguez in the draft? That would be sick to see him in the fold, because especially with Nakobe Dean, he does have that injury history. And then Dean and Walker, it's their first time, donning the silver and black. So will they fit in? How will they acclimate? And honestly, like, no shade to the other guys, but none of the other linebackers on the roster have really proven. They're all kind of just special team / reserve guys. So looking for those guys. And I think one player specifically, I think it's a big make or break season for him, and that's Malcolm Kuntz. He looked really good a couple of years ago, I believe, and then he blew his knee out. And then he came back last year. Is a little bit underwhelming. And I believe the Raiders signed him to a 1-year deal this season. It's kind of like a prove it deal. But I mean, he'll be playing that strong linebacker side if they do that 3-4 base. So I think Kuntz, it's a big season for him. It'll be interesting to see what they do or what he does this season.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point with that injury, because I think that they're, if anything, with the limitations that they have with those injuries, I think that he is probably going to be limited as far as playing time goes. But I think that he'll probably get into the plays where he's going to be needed, and he'll make it. He'll be an impactful player when it counts. And I think that they're doing a really good job being able to just get these guys, even with the injuries that they have. I think that they really know what they're doing with it, because they wouldn't get them for no other reason. And then, getting all the other players that they did get. So, yeah, I'm with you on that, man. So,
another guy that I'm starting to hear a lot about, and I'm starting to hear a lot of the insiders break down too, that I'm interested in, and they think he could be a potential starter here in the future too, is Isaiah Massis that we drafted out of Cal. How do you feel about that guy, Wyatt? Have you really looked into him and broke him down yet?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't really looked too much into him, just because I already feel pretty comfortable with Eric Stokes at cornerback. And then you already kind of look at if Jermon McCoy is playing, he's probably going to be starting, honestly, with how talented he is. And then Darian Porter as well. But yeah, I mean, Massis, he just adds more depth to that cornerback room. And I've heard good things about him. I mean, he went lower in the draft, obviously, and they believe him. I believe they took him in the 5th round. But yeah, I mean, I know he's sticky in coverage, and having guys that you can rotate in and out. I think they're going to rely heavily on their secondary this season. That's why they upgraded it so much, because that's kind of the new modern thing with how offenses are switching to more of a modern, widespread, pass heavy type of approach. It's important to have these guys in the back end that can stick with receivers and not get burnt quite as frequently as we did last season, and kind of on third downs, especially, kind of solidify that back end so we can turn it over and give the offense a chance to put up as many points as possible.
And what I like too is I think they've done enough with the people that they brought in to finally cover damn tight ends down the middle. I think that's been our biggest problem so long, is leaving the middle open. I mean, I can't remember how many times that Travis Kelce's just wide open. It's like, what are you doing? Get on the guy. I think we have players now that can, play defense on these tight ends. So hopefully the middle of the field isn't as open as it used to be, and these tight ends aren't just completing first downs at a regular basis easily on us like they have in the past.
And that's directly correlated to the Raiders' weakness at the linebacker position for so long. For so long, they've neglected that, position group. And finally they bring in 2 very good young linebackers. And I will say though, as a whole, I will say my biggest concern with the defense is that linebacker depth, because like you guys were saying, if one of those guys goes down, we are pretty thin at that position. But, if they stay healthy, defense looks pretty solid all around.
I mean, yeah, because they are. I mean, they got N'Kobe and Quay Walker. But yeah, they did get those two to be able to kind of help with the middle. So I mean, if one of those guys goes down, and then the other one has to pick up the slack, yeah, it's gonna be a little rough for them out there in the middle.
And I feel like Kwity Paye is another wild card in the defense because let's be honest, if Max Crosby never got traded to the Ravens, I don't think they would have signed Kwity Paye and Malcolm Kuntz. I feel like it would have been one or the other. And they kind of like went into the free agency thinking that Crosby wasn't going to be there when he was with Baltimore for that couple day stretch. And they were content with having Paye and Kuntz as the two, outside linebackers. But now that Crosby's back, it adds that additional depth. And they drafted Kieran Crawford, who I've been hearing a lot of good things about him.
Yeah.
So despite his kind of shorter radius, he's supposed to be one of the best pass rushers in this last draft. So I think they're really set on the edges. And then obviously having Max Crosby back, I mean, he might be the best edge in the league right now if his knee gets back to form. So,
oh yeah, what was it last year? The year before he had like 12 and a half sacks or something like that, or 12 sacks or something. I forgot.
Yeah, I believe it was. I think his career year was 2 years ago. Yeah,
yeah.
And then last year, he kind of that knee kind of started bugging him at the end of the season, and then all that transpired where they like had him not play the last couple of games. But hopefully, he's healthy to begin this season.
And hopefully he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have good depth at that position, though. So I'm excited to see guys like Kwity Paye. I think Kwity Paye could have a huge season. I mean, I'm actually buddies with this guy that's a Colts fan, and he really liked Kwity Paye. But I believe the Colts switched to a 4-3, and Kwity Paye, he thrives in a 3-4 base. So in the 4-3, he wasn't really being utilized as well. That's why he kind of had a down year last year. But he's still in his prime. I believe he's young too. He's under 28 years old, so he could be in for a career season as well.
All right. Well, I got one more question for you before we get into the next segment, and this is going to be to both of you. So I'll let whoever wants to answer first. Are the Raiders building a real foundation right now as far as the defense goes, or is it still like a wait and see year? Stephen, go ahead. You can go first.
You want to? Okay.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Wyatt to start talking. No, they're definitely building a foundation, but this year for everything, it's wait and see. I mean, you got to see how it all comes together. Nobody's expecting playoffs or anything this year, but I definitely think they're building it the right way. They're getting guys under 30. They're giving them longer contracts. In the past, we were just giving 1-year contracts to older guys, and it's like prove it years, year in and year out. Now we're kind of building some stability and bringing in younger guys that could play for a few years, bringing them in their prime. So I think they're doing it the right way. And if it all comes together, man, I've heard that this defense could be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much exactly agree with that. Like, I think going out, like last year, they kind of just slapped a bunch of Band-Aids across the defense. I mean, they bring in all these like older players that are kind of exiting their primes, like Devin White and Jamal Adams. Like, not to say they didn't have solid seasons, but that's really not like a long-term solution. And I think finally this season, we're kind of going into it with a more, not a relaxed approach, but we're going into it, guys, they know that their job security isn't on the line. If they don't perform in week 5, they're getting cut or something like that. Like I feel like they're building something more long-term here. And drafting guys like Kieran Crawford as well. It was kind of a best player available type of pick, which I always like, you can appreciate because, they could have drafted, a defensive tackle or something that they needed a little bit more, but they wanted to get the best available player because long-term, that's what's gonna impact the team the most. So it's gonna be exciting to see this defense unfold once the season starts. It's definitely kind of a new look defense compared to last season. So it's gonna be interesting to see how all these guys gel together as a whole.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you for that one. Now we're going to be this is the part of the show where we like the most. I'm going to go on ahead and introduce it on that. As we were breaking down the defense and everything going on like that, we're going to go on ahead and let one of our best analysts talk about the man who's going to be in charge of that coordinator narrative. So we come to the best part of the show that we like to call
4th and Wyatt.
Trust me, I got this.
We definitely trust you, brother. The stage is yours.
I love that intro. Honestly, that's super funny. But yeah, I just wanted for this segment of Fourth and Wyatt, I wanted to get into, Rob Leonard's defense as a whole. Like, what is he going to bring to this defense that's different than last season? Well, I mean, to start out, Patrick Graham, he liked to use that bend, don't break 4-3 defense. Some people termed it as a vanilla type of defense, which I think is a little bit unfair because he is he's highly regarded as a defensive coordinator in the league. And he did a pretty damn good job for the Raiders over the past couple seasons, all things considered, with all the player turnover and all that. But I think Rob Leonard offers a new, exciting type of defense that they can implement. And what I mean by that is, Rob Leonard, he's going to implement a lot of high volume stunts and blitzes and try to create a lot of disguised pressure to, get to opponents' quarterbacks, like the Justin Herberts, Patrick Mahomes of the world. Yeah. And I think that's very important to have at this point in the NFL. Rob Leonard, he was the Raiders defensive line coach for the past 3 seasons. And, he's received high praise from Max Crosby, which I think is obviously very important considering that Max Crosby is literally the face of the Shield right now. And in terms of schemes, Rob Leonard, he's vocally stated that he wants to implement a 3-4 base on early downs versus runs. But I don't expect them to only use 3-4 coverages. Is they're also probably going to implement 3-3-5, especially on third downs, which is generally passing downs. And also, as well as that 4-2 style of defense instead of a 4-3, which is what we use in the past. And a 4-2 basically replaces that third linebacker, hence the 3 moving to a 2. And that'll implement an additional nickel defensive back, which will provide better coverage against, modern offenses, like the widespread modern offenses where they have multiple receivers and tight ends outside. It's going to help, kind of just prevent the pass. And I mean, the Raiders, they heavily invested in the secondary. And I think that kind of suggests that they're going to use nickel and dime packages more frequently than they have in the past. And they're going to lean on the playmaking of that dynamic secondary. They brought in, guys like Tre'Don Stukes in the second round. They bring him in over a nose tackle, which kind of proves that, while they're going to stay true to the 3-4 base to an extent, I don't think they're going to fully embrace it quite as much as some people might have, myself included, might have thought going into the draft, as they're going to kind of disguise and just use different types of pressure overall. And I think that Clint Kubiak and John Spytek's overall vantage of this defense, they wanted to see some continuity stick with this team. I mean, obviously with Pete Carroll last season, things didn't go the way they wanted to. The offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, getting, fired, mid-season. The offense didn't go well. So they had to revamp that, obviously, bringing in Clint Kubiak. But since he's an offensive-minded head coach, a lot of people kind of thought that they would go a different direction in terms of the defensive coordinator position. But they wanted to stick with continuity, and Rob Leonard is exactly that. He's proven enough. His resume is extensive enough to warrant himself as a defensive coordinator in this league. And I think it's going to be exciting to see how he kind of fits in this new higher up role that he has compared to the seasons past where he's thrived as the Raiders defensive line coach. And I think obviously most importantly, having praise from the guy, Max Crosby, I mean, that is absolutely huge. And it's going to be exciting to see what he does with this defense overall this season.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. These different packages they're going to run, I think it shows in the players they brought in and the guys they drafted that they're going to go with that. And the whole reason why they never touched a third linebacker either is I think they're going to use guys like Chin and Stukes in like a third linebacker role at times. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what he's going to bring.
Yeah. And like you just said, like Jeremy Chin, I mean, although he's listed as a strong safety on the depth chart, like they're going to be able to slot him in certain roles and they can move him into the linebacking room. And then that can, create opportunities for maybe Dalton, what's his name? Dalton Johnson. Yeah. Dalton Johnson. And then Tre'Don Stukes, Isaiah Palomao, guys like that. They're going to have a lot of guys rotating in and out as a whole. Kwity Paye, he might play a little bit of defensive end as well as that outside linebacker. So it's going to be very interesting. Like I know we kind of keep repetitively saying that, but it really is. I mean, we really don't know exactly what they're going to do. There's a lot of different ways they can go, and they're going to rotate guys in and out a lot. So I think that'll kind of help disguise their defense and make it hard for offenses to game plan against us. So I think that's an advantage that we'll have with Rob Leonard at the helm.
I'm just super excited, man, because they started going hard at the defense and bringing in an offensive coach. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, they're going to really build up that offense more and focus on the offense. But to see the emphasis they've put on the defense, it tells me they want to be a hard-nosed defensive team, which I like. These are the type of teams I like. What I think they're building in Las Vegas, where you're going to be a strong defense and a running team on offense. We'll talk about offense next week, but those are the type of teams I like to see. So, and I think that's what they're building here. So I'm happy they emphasized a lot on the defense, and let's see if it pays off, man. I'm excited.
And we'll get into it. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say one last thing, and we'll get into more of that next week. But with the offense, in order for, Kubiak, he likes to run the ball. He's proven that. And in order for that to work, you can't really have a good running offense if your defense stinks. You need to have a good defense to get the offense the ball. And the whole point of running the ball is to chew the clock. And if the defense can't get off the field, or they're just letting a bunch of touchdowns, you're forced to throw it all the time. So if the defense can hold their own, then that can allow the offense to run the ball, which is what Kubiak ultimately wants to do.
All right, so then for some closing questions, let's go on ahead and get into it and see if you guys how you guys feel about it. So we'll go with that. White. Go on ahead and give me one bold prediction for the Raiders this season coming up.
Yeah, I just want to see them double their win total at the very least. Shouldn't be too hard to do, all things considered, considering how low the bar was last season. But I don't even want to predict what the record is going to be, but I just want to see them improve and just play more competitive football this season. I think that's kind of what everyone wants to see, and I think this defense will allow them to do that.
Well, if I could get a bold prediction out of you, who as far as the defensive players signed, do you think is going to be a starter? Just right off the bat.
Oh, well, I think they're gonna heavily lean on. If I had to pick one guy, I'd say Quay Walker, because he's a bit younger than Nakobe Dean, coming over from the Packers, and Nakobe Dean does have that injury history. So if he goes down, Quay Walker, even if he stays healthy, Quay Walker is going to be a vital part of that linebacking core. I think they're going to lean on him heavy this season.
And Steven, who do you?
You want me to give a bold prediction? My bold prediction is Max Crosby has a career year. He's coming in angry with that trade, people talking about his injury, and I think he's going to ball out this year. And if he stays healthy, career year, defensive player of the year, that's my bold prediction.
Yeah, because I think that whole trade debacle thing with Baltimore, I think that might have lit a fire under his ass. So, yeah, I think he's going to come back next year, and he's really, really he's going to definitely ball out there. With that being said, Steven, who's and I know you had mentioned it earlier because you said not to sleep on him. So who's going to be your breakout player as far as the defense goes?
Breakout player? Let's go with Kwity Paye. I think Kwity Paye bounces back. He's in a scheme he likes, and having Max Crosby on the other end, I think you're going to see him have a big season. I'd like to see him have a double-digit sack season. So let's go with Kwity Paye.
What are you thinking, Wyatt?
Yeah, I think breakout. I'm just going to go with Quay Walker. I think he's going to ball out. And then if I had to throw one more bold take into there, one more bold prediction, I'd say, Jermon McCoy ends up being a top 10 cornerback this season. I really think he's that good. If he stays healthy, I'm just stoked to see him out there. And if he was healthy in college, he would have been right up there with Mansour Delane in the top of the draft.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was. There were tons of people surprised that, and the analysts out there that were surprised that he fell so far in, and we got him. So thank you guys for passing up something like that.
We need a W for once. We always get talked about for reaching and grabbing guys that didn't work out high in the draft. Let's get a win by pulling off a top 10 player later on in the draft. You know what I mean? So let's go. We need this W. We need Jermon McCoy to come out and be the guy that everybody thought he was going to be before the injury.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of talk out there in the media world that the Raiders pretty much came out on top as the best team that really succeeded in the draft. Like everybody's talking about the Raiders draft, like everyone else just didn't like is irrelevant. Like the Raiders are the talk of the town when it comes to drafts and the additions that they added to the team. So, like you were saying earlier, Wyatt. I mean, yeah, it's on paper one thing, but being able to put it out there is going to be something different. But yeah, we're definitely the talk of the town. I think we did really good, especially with the sleepers that we got out there.
Yeah.
All right, so final question: are the Raiders building something real, or does Raider Nation still need to see proof?
Well, I mean, I will
go ahead.
say, like, it certainly feels like it's real, but me personally, I need to see proof. I think we need to see proof. I mean, obviously, it looks really good right now. It looks like they're kind of finally doing things the right way. But until they actually prove it, then it's not real. So I think they need to prove it first for us to fully believe and buy into this new system.
Raider Nation is hesitant right now.
Mm-hmm.
They go into every year excited, thinking, all right, we're going to do it. This is our year. And the last couple of years, as disappointing as it's been, I think fans are scared to be hyped up right now. They see something that they feel is going well and that could work,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody wants to jump out and just go, this is it. We got it. We have this. We have some analysts like Louis Riddick and stuff coming out saying Raiders are going to go worst to first. This team's going to the playoffs. But Raider fans are going, we felt that before. Let's just let's pump the brakes. Let's just see what happens. Now, do I think it can happen? I do. I do think the Raiders can play well enough this year to where they could sneak into the playoffs. Would I put my money on it? No. I think this team needs time to grow and build and do some things, but I do think they've done a lot of good things. But I think Raider Nation's too hesitant right now to go, hell yeah, this is our year. We're going to the playoffs, or they're going to do this or they're going to do that. We've had our heart broken too many times, so they don't want to let that feeling in right now.
Yeah, I'm going more on the fantasy portion of it because, like I said, going into the draft, it was a little skeptical, but then coming out of it, even halfway through it, and everybody that they were signing on, I just and I'm going to say it again, I felt like we just intellectually picked better players this year. I'm not saying everybody that we got in the past years, didn't work out well, but I just felt like they were going in the right direction because, yeah, we were looking for those. We need to give help for the wide receivers or in the quarterback and all that. We need somebody on offense. And then they just did a complete 180 on us and went defensive heavy. And we're like, oh, wait a minute. You know what? You're right. We do need help in that area. And then get a couple of other pieces that are going to help out the offense. So I really feel like the Raiders are building something real right now. And I can't wait. Can't wait for preseason. I can't wait to see what Mendoza's going to end up doing. I can't wait to see how our defensive guys are going to handle that hard hits out there, because they're definitely going to be trying to get on that roster. So I'm excited. I can't wait. So is there any final thoughts or any last statements you want to give to the Raider Nation out there, to our listeners, watchers, whatever, our viewers? What's going on? Wyatt,
Hey, Raider Nation, don't be scared to get excited, man. This is the time of year where we get to be happy, enjoy ourselves, enjoy the draft, enjoy training camp, enjoy our events, enjoy everything right now. Because if the season goes sour, that's when we're sad. Right now is the time to be happy, excited. I hate going into a season having that feeling of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to go in and think, hey, week 1, that's what I'm focused on. Let's win that game. We win that game, we get to feel good. We go into week 2, and then we'll see where we're at after the first 4 games of the season. If we're 2-2, 3-1, we're going somewhere. If we've only got 1 win, then we're going to be talking about when is Fernando starting, if he isn't already from week 1. So just be excited, man. I think the team is going in the right direction. It feels like everybody's on the same page. They're making smart moves, not bringing in older players, giving guys longer contracts. I think we're finally gonna get out of that rut that we've been in for so long, and hopefully become a consistent playoff team over the next couple seasons.
Yeah, it feels like they're finally like modernizing their approach in terms of like building together a football team. I mean, they were kind of living in the past with a couple of their last hires. I mean, as much as I liked John Gruden, he was a great NFL coach in the early 2000s. Josh McDaniels, I mean, he was part of that Patriots team, but then he comes here. He wasn't really cut out to be a head coach. Pete Carroll, same thing, living in the past. Now they're finally looking in the future with the hire of Clint Kubiak, and this is exactly what Raider fans have been clamoring about, kind of hoping for them to do. And they bring in the new, hopefully, franchise quarterback. So I think there's a lot of room for optimism for us Raider fans right now.
All right. Well, there it is, Raider Nation. Position groups, new additions, rookies, veterans, and the big picture for the silver and black. The question now is simple. Are the Raiders ready to take a step forward, or are we still waiting for the next big thing to come together? Are we still waiting for it to come together? Either way, we're locked in. I'm going to go on ahead and continue hit you guys up and make sure to remind you that there is going to be the annual barbecue coming up. Raider Chavez, you want to go on ahead and give a little bit more on this?
Yeah, a few more weeks, guys. Come on out. If you need a link to RSVP, the RSVP is just so you can get free food. If you don't care about that, the event's free. Come on out, enjoy a car show, enjoy just the brothership of hanging out with Raider Nation, man. We got guys, super fans coming out from Texas, guys coming from Colorado, from all over California, Nevada. Man, just come out, have a good time, meet Raider Nation, come out and see why we love being a part of this, why we love throwing events and being together and networking with each other, having these podcasts and going on each other's podcasts and just networking nationwide with Raider Nation. This is an opportunity for you to come out and do that and see. And if you've never done it before, you get to see why Raider Nation is so important and why we're different than any other fan base in the NFL. So come out to Reno. It's going to be a good time. If you need a link to rooms at Grand Sierra or Golden Nugget, shoot me a message and we'll send you a link. You can scan that QR code. Should send you to the page where we have links and everything too. Yeah, come out. We at the Black Hole, we always try to find a way to get you discounts in Vegas, in Reno. Whenever we throw events, we try to find you rooms, food, everything, and we try to make our events completely free to the public. It's always kid friendly as well. So come on out, man. It's gonna be a good time. Good chance to come meet DJ Real About It. Good chance to come meet myself and many others. Yeah, Cisco. You guys would love to meet Cisco, one of the Black Hole OGs. Marlene from Reno, and then a bunch of Sacramento folks are coming up there. So it's gonna be a good time. Come on out.
Absolutely. Yes. Come on out, you guys. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell us who you think the Raiders defensive, one of the Raiders defensive players is going to be a smash. Or if you want to go on ahead and disagree, make sure you hit us up in the comments. As for Raider Chavez and Wyatt Redding, thank you guys so much. We're going to go on ahead and take off from here. I am Izzy Lopez, a.k.a. DJ Real About It, here for the Sack Blackout Podcast. You guys keep it real.
Peace.